looked at it and it's like, man, this is a pretty big space. Am I gonna feel this? And yeah, like
Yes,
like,
yes, you
holy
will.
crap, I'm running out of room.
Like, you don't need a headline that says EA's been working on next-gen games for a while already. Duh! We don't really record
You
anyway.
want to go over ours?
Oh, shit!
All right.
Dude, I did this again. This is like the third week in a row I've done this.
How dare you not talk about ours?
I'm Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Retro Rents Retro Gaming Podcast. It's episode 44, and I am Al.
I'm Nick.
What's going on, man?
Oh, just craziness. I'm 2 weeks away from the move, and it's just like...
Oh, man, I feel you. I'm 2 days away from getting on a plane for the first time in 12 years.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, how's this go again?
Drop your pants and bend over.
That's it. Well, good thing I'm not paying for it then, so it'll be a free plugin. Yeah, I had Luke kind of just giving me the pointers, and because I'm flying out of Valentine, so I'm gonna have a layover.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah,
Is it? I've never done. So yeah, he was like,
chill.
That's what he said, and he's like, make sure you have an hour to an hour and a half layover. He's like, if you're going out west, try to get a layover in Detroit, try to fly Delta. So I did all that. So I got, I'm flying Delta, laying over in Detroit each trip. Got about an hour and a half on the first layover, coming out there. And Luke and another one of my coworkers says it's an incredibly, unbelievably beautiful airport.
Nice.
And yeah, he said it's a great place to just, if you're gonna have a layover, that's a place to be. So I'll be leaving Saturday afternoon, getting there about 7:30 San Fran time. So about a 9-hour trip.
Sounds about right.
With the layover and everything. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the first week at the new job. And then I fly home next Saturday morning. And I'll land in Allentown at 10:30 at night. Thanks to the time jump. But yeah, man. So I feel you. I mean, it's not as crazy as moving, that's for damn sure. How is that going?
At this stage, almost everything is packed up. I'm down to like a few bits and bobs. I'm gonna try and knock out the rest this weekend. Obviously, my gaming rig is like gonna be the last things to be really packed up. But,
I was just about to ask you. Is everything else, like your couch is gone, but your chair and computer are still there?
That's what it's starting to feel like. All the pictures are off the wall. Fortunately, I'm going to have the movers do the heavies. I've been moving, slowly moving all my other stuff that I've been just boxing, whatnot, into my storage unit. So that thing's crazily almost full. I got a 10 by 10. I'm like, am I really going to fill this thing? Because I set up front, I wasn't going to put furniture in. I knew if I was going to put furniture in there, I'd need a bigger unit. But it's like, this will just be basically boxes, and it's like place for sort of the models, so I don't have to break them down, the Lego stuff. I looked at it and it's like, man, this is a pretty big space. Am I gonna feel this? And holy crap, I'm running out of room.
You're like stuffing things into cracks now.
Exactly. I'm like, Tetris blocking it.
Wait till you gotta unload it.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it one of those where come moving day, something will come and get the unit itself and haul it down to where you're going?
No, so kind of an effort to make it somewhat cheap. Obviously, anytime you get movers involved, it's not cheap. Period. But it's like I don't want to throw my back out trying to do the couches. So straight up, it's like all the heavy stuff's gonna be them. But basically, I'm probably gonna just do a lot of like again, kind of weekend trips or whatever, or just after work, just go back, fill up the car, kind of what I've been doing now. It's like every time fortunately, it's along my route to work.
Oh, that's good.
So basically, every day I kind of commit to like at least 1 or 2 boxes go in the trunk, and I'm dropping off as I go. So it's allowed for like kind of this whittle down process as well.
Okay, so the storage unit's actually closer to your new place.
Well, funny enough, like when I first got it, it was like I'm estimating it to be halfway, and it actually has turned out to be exactly halfway between my new place and the old place.
Well, that's good. No, that's actually not bad at all.
Yeah, not bad at it whatsoever. And again, because it's on my work route, I'm not really taking a dog leg to try and get there, after work. So it's really worked out to my advantage, and it's like it's a matter of just kind of hitting one thing at a time.
Nice, man. Very nice. Yeah, there's nothing like moving. That's for damn sure. Yeah. I officially
nothing like that to take an assessment of like how much crap you have.
Yeah, and then you sit there and go, "Do I really need all this shit?"
oh, for sure. Like it's also been good in a sense because like as I've gone through like room by room and whatnot, there's been a lot of like, wow, I remember this and I don't use this, so
I forgot I had this, therefore I don't need it.
Exactly. And it's not like I'm a hoarder or anything. It's just like I never thought about it and got around to like cleaning it up essentially.
No, I'm with you. I've got shit that like computer stuff that like I see it and I'm like, yeah, I remember my rationale at the time, but I don't fucking need this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy experience. There's nothing like it, man. Yeah, I officially had my last day at the old job on Wednesday.
Woo!
See ya.
Mini vacation, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I figured I'd at least get a couple days to rest and pack.
Sure.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm still getting over whatever the hell it was I had. I'm like 98% now. But man, I was sick. Like, the day after we recorded last, I woke up and wanted to die.
Ooh.
Like, I had chest cold and couldn't breathe. Like, I was so stuffed up. Like, I was sick pretty much the entire week. It was a great excuse to keep working from home, which is exactly what I did. And, yeah, I mean, the last day at the job, it was funny. I was like, oh, maybe I'll go in since I'm only going to be there till Wednesday. Maybe I'll go in Monday. Woke up Monday. I was like, nope. And I work from home. I was like, all right, well, Tuesday, I'm definitely going in. Woke up Tuesday. I was like, nope. I'll work from home. Finally, I was like, all right, it's Wednesday. I have to go in. Give him my laptop. Give him my corporate card. Do my exit interview. So I brought all my crap in. I had already taken out everything. And, my exit interview was like 11:30, so I just told a couple coworkers like, "Hey, I'm done at like 12, so like let's go get some pizza at Joe's." And I just really intended it to be me and this other guy and another guy I worked with, but word got around and like half the freaking team shows up at Joe's Pizza in Allentown.
Nice.
And everyone's like, "Man, we're so sorry to see you go." Like, why the hell couldn't they pay you better? Like, how the hell are we going to do this without you? I'm like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But,
GG, good luck.
Good game. I'm out. Yeah, oh, man, shit. I'm excited to start this new job, man. There's like no words how excited I am to get out to California and meet my new coworkers, meet my manager, and just get a real feel, get my feet wet for what I'm going to be doing. And see San Francisco. I've never been. Never been to San Fran. And it looks awesome. Like, I found out, when I was talking to my boss when he was out the week before, he's like, well, where is it in San Francisco? I was like, honestly, I haven't even looked. So, like, I checked it out on Google Maps, and we're looking at it. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. He's like, what? I'm like, they're right across the street from IGN. And, of course, he didn't know what IGN was. But, needless to say, I'm going to be going to get my picture in front of whatever giant gaming prop they have in their front lobby.
Nice.
And, I'm excited. I mean, it's in a beautiful part of the city. The hotel that I booked is a 5-minute walk to the office.
Nice.
The airport is a 10-minute ride to the hotel. Or to and from. So I'm gonna actually get my first dose of Uber.
Oh boy.
I refuse to freaking rent a car. Especially in San Francisco. Like, I don't know anywhere around there. Like, I hear parking is hell. I hear driving is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not even. I'll take an Uber.
Uber is nice, man. It's like it takes a lot of the stress out of traveling. As long as you're traveling to a city, like if you're traveling in between, then not so much, or out in the boonies or something like that, then they can be a little more sketchy.
Yeah, so I can imagine that being a bit dicey, but yeah.
But yeah, it's like super awesome. Like we used it a lot. Well, every time we had to go someplace when I was at TwitchCon, and outside of with that, it's a little different because it was a conventions situation where sometimes you're waiting because everyone's getting the Uber.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, it's like in terms of like the headaches and just the convenience, like it can't be beat.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Like, I've never used it before. Like, how is that handled? Like, do you tip like you would a cab driver, or?
I think you can tip through the app.
That's
if you
good.
Choose to do so.
Great.
I know I've heard of some people actually like physically tipping people if they wish, but most people I think end up tipping like through the app itself, and then you can they're always looking for like the better star rating as well, so that's always helpful.
Awesome. Yeah. Am I weird in like that? I love the idea that no cash is changing hands.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, because you don't have to necessarily worry about carrying a lot with you,
right?
Like, as if you're going to take a taxi. Well, taxis these days, I'll take credit cards anyway. But
they were taking them back in my Houston days.
Yeah. But yeah, it's super. I like it because it's super convenient, and I say in a sense like a lot more safe in the sense that you're not breaking out a wallet or whatever, and kind of exposing that, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I'm.
And it's all done on your phone.
I really like that, man. I'm excited. Like it's just been so long since I've traveled. I mean, it's interesting to see how much has changed. Like Luke was saying, oh yeah, they got USB ports on the plane to power your phone. Charge your phone. He's like, bring earbuds. You can watch movies. I was like, never had movies on a Southwest flight. So I guess it's a Delta thing, but I'm fine with that because I'm flying Delta. So it's like I don't have, I'm in that between jobs period, so it's not like I have, money to burn at this point. But yeah, eventually I'll get a Switch, and when I gotta fly again, I'll have a portable game system to play.
Yeah, I think you're probably your Allentown puddle, because that's like the only things that fly out of Allentown is like little puddle jumpers. Is like that thing won't have USB, but probably your connecting flight. Your Airbuses and all that. Yeah, they'll definitely have. I would be surprised if it doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, I've never flown out of Allentown, so that should be interesting.
It's nice for the location because you're not having to like go into Philly Airport, which like isn't necessarily bad to get to, but like from
a pain in the ass.
That's a haul. I mean, even from where I'm at right now, it's like it's a haul and a half.
Yeah.
But it's super chill airport. Like the thing is, like there's not that many really flights going out, so usually the airport's pretty empty to begin with.
Okay,
so it'll be like whatever your flight is, maybe one or two others. It's only like like little puddle jumpers that'll connect to a main hub.
Okay.
I actually double check. Like you aren't like going to like New Jersey on one of the stops.
No. It's straight to Detroit.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because one of the other things I've noticed is sometimes you will take a quote unquote flight out of there, but it'll actually be a bus to Newark, and then from Newark you actually fly.
What?
But it's weird because you'll go through security, you like normal. Go into the terminal, wait for your departure time, and then you'll go out to the tarmac, and there'll be a bus there, and then they'll load all your luggage, and you'll get on the bus, and then the bus will, the bus doesn't stop, so it'll go into Newark, and Newark will go, you'll be in the security zone in Newark, and like enter the terminal like as if you were on an airplane type of thing.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's weird. It's totally weird, but that that's how to do it.
Wow. I'm actually checking now. You've got me a little nervous. Like, shit, no. But no, it says it's a flight straight to Detroit, so that's good. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's just exciting, and it's been so long since I've flown, and yeah, it's just the whole new chapter. The only thing I'm obviously a little anxious. This is going to be in 7 years, like the most time I've been apart from Amber. Definitely the most time I've been apart from the girls. I don't think I've ever been away from the girls for more than a day. And so it's I'm sure it'll be great that first day, and then knowing me by day 2, like, you guys want to FaceTime? But yeah, so they're gonna have fun. They're gonna do girls' week, and have like sleepovers down in the living room, and I'm sure they'll have a ball. But yeah, it's a new day for me starting Sunday. So I'm looking forward to it. But what have you been up to game-wise?
Well, again, with all the packing, not too much. Last weekend, though, I was doing the beta weekend for Tribes of Midgard. I think I talked about that last.
Yeah, you talked about that last episode. Fill us in on that.
Yeah, a lot of new stuff since I last played it from PAX. They have a lot more enemies now. So at PAX, they basically only had kind of like these human-sized, like, kind of your standard monster that you find in the wild. It's kind of like these, evil villagers. I say evil villagers, but it's the best way to describe it.
Right.
They actually have a name. Hold on. Let me see if I can look up real quick.
Jotun?
No, Jotun were like the giants. So so basically there were two enemies. There was the giants that marched towards your village that you have to defend.
Yeah.
And then there's these kind of like random enemies that are out in the field that you're fighting and have to deal with just to survive, and also get supplies. Like they have certain loots on their person,
right?
That you loot. Oh man, I thought I took a picture of the enemy classes, but maybe I didn't. Anyway, but now they have a whole bunch more stuff. So there's werewolves out there. They're like super fast and super aggressive. There's like these little goblins, like kind of like I think the like the gold goblin from Diablo 2, or not 2, 3 or whatever it is. Yeah, 3.
Wow.
It's like the troll. The treasure. That's what it is. The treasure goblin. Kind of like that, except that there's a whole bunch of them, so they end up being in these like little kind of pygmy packs, and so one by itself not very deadly, but when you're surrounded by them, you can't kill them. Necessarily
it's a
all
problem.
You just start kicking everything. So there's that, and now there's trolls, which are kind of like, I'd say, these medium sized. I mean, they take up a good portion of the screen, but they're smaller than giants, but obviously way bigger than kind of like the other little guys you encounter. Right. I didn't fight them actively because at the time I was exploring, so they had several like beta objectives to try and accomplish. If you and your party, if you happen to party with people, got these objectives done, like if you survived a certain day, or if you explored the entire map, you get like these beta rewards, and they'll give you stuff for the live game when it comes out.
Huh.
So at the time I was nominated as the explorer, so I was just kind of like running around for my life. With a ton of enemies and like, ooh, what's this thing? Holy crap, it's a troll, run!
Oh, that sounds wild.
But yeah, it's a super chill game. Like, I mentioned Diablo. It's very Diablo-esque in the sense of like, how you kind of like click for combat and where you move and whatnot. But there's no real complication to it. Like it's very easy to understand and pick up. There's no like crazy skill trees or anything like that. It's basically you kind of go out and collect stuff, so it kind of has a survival aspect to it. Okay. You bring it back. You craft weapons and armor out of it. If you defeat giants, you get like special items from them that you use to build I say super weapons, but like, you can build like this
Yeah.
flaming hammer that, when you do the special attacks, it draws this flaming rune on the ground. Things like that,
Ooh.
and you go out and kind of explore more. So I'm eager to see what else they're gonna put into it. But at the same time, again, because it's so super chill, like anyone could pick this up. It's going to be at least up to 10 players that could be in this kind of. It's co-op. It's PvE. There's no players you're fighting against per se.
Sure.
But it's like get a whole bunch of friends together. And it's like, okay, we're gonna defend the village, and like you can go out and explore, but you stay near the village because during the evening. So there's a day cycle to it.
Okay.
During the evenings, there's these enemies that will attack the village directly. So all these other enemies are just out in the field, and they'll leave your village alone during the day. But during the night, like there's these kind of spirit Heflings. They almost look like wraiths, from Lord of the Rings.
Huh.
And they'll start spawning all around your village and move in through the gates. And even if so one of the defenses is let me back up. So you can build defenses. Right now, it's only gates. But a lot of the community is just kind of clamoring for, can we get like archers or something on the walls or something?
Really?
So they're kind of listening to that. So hopefully we get something like that. But yeah, so during the night, these Heathlings will attack, and if you don't have someone there to defend it, your village falls. And obviously, if the giant makes it to your village and you don't kill the giant in time, your village falls. So those are kind of the lose conditions for your village. And you think it'd be easy, but the thing is, every time you kill a giant, a new one instantly spawns. And it's not necessarily closer. It's usually most of them have been pretty far away. You have around anywhere from 7 to 10 days once a giant appears for it to kind of march its way towards your village.
Oh, that sounds so cool, though.
And yeah, and so you can kind of play a little strategically. Like one of the groups I was playing with, like we kind of started timing it. Where it's like, okay, you know what, we'd have one guy go out and find the giants and kind of like slowly chip away at it, while the rest of us were like collecting supplies and building the gates and whatnot. And so he would chip away at it, and then sometimes like he would get really good at it, and you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna leave like half a bar left on it. I'm gonna let it slowly march in, and then when it's like near our village, then we're gonna kill it. And then the new one will spawn. That way it would like burn a couple days of like, okay, we can survive a couple days and not have this, next giant already down our necks having to deal with it. So there's, you can kind of, introduce some strategic gameplay and coordination and whatnot. So
that just, man, I don't know. Like, that sounds really, really cool. Like, I don't know. I'd say I'd really get into that.
Super fun. I'll keep you posted on when the next beta. I think they're teasing 2 more beta weekends. One of them will at least be in August at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll keep you posted on when the next one is to see if we can get in on that.
Damn, yeah. Let me know, man, because that just sounds like my cup of tea. Like, I think I'd have a blast with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like you, and you said like you could play as a group and stuff. Or did I get that wrong? Like, we could play that multiplayer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we could play multiplayer, and because it's it's free open beta weekends that they're doing, so you don't have to like do an early access purchase yet or anything like that.
Cool.
The final game will cost something. I don't think they've talked about a price.
Well, yeah,
yet,
I think that's obvious.
Yeah. But yeah, like at the very least, I'd say it's at least worth checking out, and it's very cool art style. And like I said, it's a super chill game. Like, even though like there is combat, it's just very very laid back feeling to it. Very very calm game. And I don't know, maybe the music kind of helps with that. Kind of has this very I say Viking, but kind of like Norwegian style. Kind of soundtrack to it is very cool.
Hell yeah, man! I'm I'm definitely gonna check that out, because that's just, I don't know, man. I'm in like a Norse kick lately. I've been playing the hell is this one? Viking Wolves of Asgard. It's another Diablo-esque kind of game. It wasn't, I have to get the name right. I'm not 100% sure. I do want to say it's like Viking Wolves of Asgard or something like that. But it's it didn't get too high reviews, but I'm really having fun with it. It's just a great action RPG, very Diablo-esque. I love the music. The music's very good. And I don't know, it's just different, and obviously I love the mythology, so it's fun, like carving up direwolves and Jotun. So, but I was playing that. I got back into Vampyr again. The one I told you about. It's by Don't Nod Entertainment. About the Spanish influenza outbreak in England. And
really,
you're a World War I medic, and you're coming home. And like when the ship lands, you get attacked and basically left for dead, or so you think. And it was actually, you were attacked by a vampire and turned. And when you come to, like, your thirst is out of control and you can barely see. And this is like the first minute of the game, and the only thing you can see is somebody's heart beating. Like you see the outline of their body, and you see like the red heart and the arteries like rushing with blood, and you just walk towards it, and your instinct, you feed. And it turns out to be your sister waiting for you to come home.
Oh no.
And that gets you down this whole path of like, what am I? What's happening to me? While you, as a doctor, are trying to find some kind of treatment for the Spanish flu outbreak. And so you're working at a hospital at night, on the night shift. The the head of the hospital knows what you are, and he's willing to help you, like, explore and find out what's happened to you, and maybe they can cure it. And so he's willing to be your cover if you help out at the hospital, because you're like a world-renowned doctor. So he's like, I'll let you work here night shift. That way nobody will ask questions as to why you're not out during the day. And you help me get this under control. So, like, it's got this great social aspect where every NPC in the game has, like, a social connection and stuff you can find out about them as you talk to them and the people they know. And the more you know about a person, the more their blood becomes, like, potent and worth more. And you can choose, you don't have to, you can choose to feed on the innocent NPCs, like mesmerize them and bring them to a corner somewhere and feed on them, and you'll get this huge boost of experience points. But then any quests or storyline they might have had is done. Closed, like, forever, because you've killed them. You've also potentially killed off any storyline with the people that they knew, or at least, you know, a way that the story could have gone. So, I have been playing to try and not feed on anybody. And it's made it difficult, because, like, I've got to grind to get more XP from killing, like, skulls and, like, lesser vampires and zealous holy warriors trying to stomp out vermin like me. And, I don't know, it's just a very interesting take on a vampire game and the vampire genre. The writing is fantastic, the voice acting is great, and I've had a lot of fun with it. I've been playing it off and on for a few months, and I just got really into it again. So I've recommended it before on here. I'll recommend it again. It's a great game. I've been continuing my Quest for Glory playthrough. I beat the one you were watching, which was Quest for Glory 2, where I got rickrolled.
Yes.
I beat that. I beat the third one last Monday? No, I beat it on Sunday, last Sunday. And I started playing through the fourth one, and I'm so happy to find out that the GOG.com version of that game is the CD-ROM version that was released. A, because it's the less buggier version. Because if you remember when we interviewed Lori and Corey Cole, they were so depressed, which is an earlier episode of the Retro Rents that you can listen to about, I don't know, like 5 episodes back. Me and Nick actually interviewing the creators of Quest for Glory, and they were so much fun. So much fun. But they had said to us, like, they loved what they were trying to do with Quest for Glory 4, but the release was so buggy because they were so rushed to get it out by Sierra that, like, they had to do a re-release, which was the CD-ROM version, a year later, because the first one was pretty much unplayable. And I had that first one on floppy disk. And yeah, it was pretty rough. But anyway, one of the things I love about the CD-ROM version is it's completely voice acted. Right down to the narration of, like, if you remember a Sierra game, when you look at something, you get a block of text. And that's narrated by John Rhys Davies.
Oh, nice.
He does all the basic narration. Very awesome voice cast. Jennifer Hale, Cam Clark. I mean, you name it. Sierra pulled out all the stops. They got all the big players in the voice acting world are all in that. So, having fun playing that again. And then on the TV front, Amber and I have been knee deep in MasterChef. We watch that every season. Have you seen that one, the Gordon Ramsay one with the home cook competition?
Yeah. Well, sorry, which one?
MasterChef.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're watching.
He does a lot.
Oh, he does. Actually, one of my favorite things he does, or he did. Am and I watched it a couple years back, and they only did one season, and we were so sad that they didn't do more. But he did Gordon Ramsay. What the hell was it called? Behind Bars. And he basically worked with a London prison to take over their food program for a year and teach prisoners who wanted to learn how to run a restaurant so that they could have like a usable skill when they came out. He taught them like cooking and, front of the house. And it was so interesting. I mean, you had the people that like weren't that into it and quit pretty early. You had, the guy that got in trouble because he tried to sneak a shiv out. And it was all in like a British prison too, which was an interesting experience because they're very different from American prisons, just the way they're run. And it was interesting, like by the end of it, he had a guy that he was ready to hire. He's like, I'll hire you on right now, like as soon as you're done. It was just really cool, Basically gave this guy a second chance at life. And he seemed like, grateful for it. It was just a neat show. But that's all I've been playing or watching pretty much. You been watching anything in the off time?
No, nothing new. I think it's just, whatever happens to come up. I'm trying to think, what's been on HBO? I haven't watched, some things, but again, like, everything just becomes such a blur.
You did watch Spielberg, right?
Pack a box.
The one I recommended to you?
Oh, that was fantastic. I burned through that like, I think that evening.
Yeah, that was so great, man. I could watch that again. Just seeing like the old footage of him and like Brian De Palma. And, like, the group of directors that he was pals with, George Lucas, like, where they're all just, like, shooting pool and hanging out. It was so cool.
Oh, I know what to watch. First Man.
That looked so great. Is that good?
Yes, it's on HBO Go now. It's one of the newer ones that came out. It's definitely on, like, what I would call the artsy side, but yeah, if you're a fan of, like, the space program stuff, you like, like Earth to the Moon. It's not...
Which I rewatched, by the way.
Oh, it's a fantastic series.
I rewatched that, Moon Landing Week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's true. Today's, or not today, but this year's the 50th anniversary. I think it was just the other week.
Last week.
The actual, I think it was. Yeah, last week.
Yeah, I posted on Facebook.
The 50th anniversary of landing on the moon.
Yeah, Houston, Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, First Man, like I would, if you're a fan of like the space program and whatnot, I'd say it's worth a watch. If you're familiar with Earth and Moon, all that, there'll be a lot of familiar, events that they lead up, so they kind of, follow Neil kind of at the start of the space program. When he gets involved up into, being on the moon and whatnot. Really fantastic cinematography.
Ooh.
Like he's like fantastic looking. I'd say my only gripe, and this is apparently kind of another gripe for I don't know
Other
what
folks.
you call that, astro heads, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the look of this? I say the look of the spaceship, but more like the inside. They make it, and I can see where they were going with it.
Yeah.
The inside of the ships look very dirty and old, which really wasn't true because all the
it
stuff
couldn't
was
be
exactly. It was brand spanking new. I mean, not to say like it wouldn't be like necessarily, grease marks.
It would be dangerous.
Yeah, it would be dangerous, but it's like all this stuff was like right off the assembly line. There wasn't any like prior use to these things, so there's this kind of weird aged look for it. But I think part of it may have been like kind of an artistic choice to kind of
why?
Kind of reinforce that it's kind of it was very seat of your pants
for sure
stuff, which was not that it was like they were spitting bale wire, but this was like super cutting edge for the time.
Oh yeah, and let's face it, they didn't know what the hell they were going to land on at that point. They're like, we think it's solid.
yeah, exactly. So I think that was the direction. Maybe the director may have like had a specific call out or something like that. But I'm guessing that was the to try and invoke that feeling, because like the sound design kind of helps reinforce that. Where I think they do get a lot of that. From, at least from Astronaut Accounts, where it's like everything is rattling and it's like just the noise is just intense. So the sound plus kind of like this visual of it looking like this kind of it doesn't look super old, but it definitely caught my eye of like, I don't think so. Like these are pretty clean.
They kind of had to be. Can't have dirt floating around in there.
Yeah, it's like it didn't look like the Millennium Falcon. That's what I got from like every time they showed like a panel on the inside or something, like you felt like you were in the Falcon versus. Not to say that it was like the Apple Space Pod either,
right?
Like
but
2001,
right?
But somewhere in between, I think is the truth type of thing.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna watch it though.
But outside of that, like it ultimately that's a minor quibble, I think, in the end, because it's very very much worth it. I think it kind of tells a compelling story in a part that I didn't know about Neil's life. I'll leave that to you to figure out. It's like I didn't realize the portion that they kind of talk about and whatnot. And
I'm gonna have to check that out, because I am a fellow Astro head like yourself.
It's definitely worth checking out. I'd definitely watch.
Excellent. All right, that might be something I watch tonight then.
There you
go. I need something to watch later, so that sounds good to me. Alright, so let's look at releases. I should have done this prior, I forgot. To pull up the Games with Gold releases for August, so I'm just gonna... I saw them already, and they weren't great. Okay, so it wasn't too bad. So for this month, we have Gears of War 4 on the Xbox for Games with Gold. It's here all month. From the 1st to the 15th is Torchlight. That's a classic.
Yeah.
I never did play the 360 version, but I bet it's pretty good. And then August 16th through the 15th is Forza Motorsport 6 off Wiedersehen. Which, Forza's always fun. And then at the end of the month, the very classic Castlevania Lords of Shadow, August 16th through the 31st. That video is still on YouTube. I found it the other day.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll link it in the SavePoint later so you guys can see it. Him and I just found a way in this one scene of Lords of Shadow where you're riding a giant boar, and you could just go around in a circle and stomp these goblins, and they would just keep coming. And run right into it and splatter. And I just thought it would look even better if it was set to the Benny Hill theme. And it was.
It was great.
So our release highlights outside of Games with Gold, we have Wolfenstein Youngblood hit this week. Reviews seem pretty good. I'll be honest, I'm out of touch on the latest Wolfenstein releases. I did start playing Oh, whatever the new one is. Before Youngblood. Was that the new Colossus or something like that? Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Did you play that one, Nick?
No, I've seen a few streams of it. Looks okay. I don't know if it's worth. Was it like? Is it 30 or 40 bucks?
Well, it was on Game Pass, so I didn't pay for it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Well, technically,
that's the way to play it. Then, I want to say it was 40 bucks, and it looked good. Like, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It was coming across like an expansion. It's like, it's just a bit much.
I played it for a little bit, got attacked by a robot dog, and it killed me, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. But yeah, I mean, Youngblood looks good. It's getting good reviews. If that's your thing, go check it out. Madden 20 hit. I want to say last weekend or last week. I actually I have a year subscription from back in last December to Origin Premier or EA Origin Premier on PC.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually got to play it as part of the subscription. And I have to say, I haven't played a Madden in a couple of iterations, but I like this one. They've definitely updated a lot of things. There's a neat mode where you can play called Face of the Franchise, where you create your player. And you're playing as a quarterback. You choose what college you go to. You play the championship game. You go through the NFL Combine. You do the whole thing, and then you get drafted. And I wound up getting drafted to the Broncos. I'm playing on rookie because I suck. But my quarterback is already at a 2,000 passing yard season. I've completed 30 touchdown passes, and it's game week 7, so it's pretty fun. The animations are great. I think it's been a big step ahead from when I played it last. You still get some jank in spots, but all in all, it seems like a very solid release. There's a lot of new features. So if you haven't played a Madden in a while, this one might actually be worth checking out. I mean, to me, it's no skin off my butt. The great thing about the Origin Premier Access is that anytime you get a game like this, like Madden or FIFA, the game they unlock and let you play is the ultimate collector's version of it, which I think is
nice.
It's a cool move on their part. So I get all the extra crap, and I'm having a blast with it so far. So I've been playing that a bunch. And then another release that came out this week that I just heard about, and I'm wicked intrigued about it, is called The Church in the Darkness. Have you heard about this?
No.
It's a stealth game where you infiltrate a 1970s cult. And it really reminds me, I just watched an episode with Amber last night of Drunk History, where they're talking about Good Samaritans, and they were talking about that guy that infiltrated the Children of God cult back in the 70s and 80s, and rescued all these kids from this really twisted sexual religious cult. And this looks like it's kind of that, you're going in and getting people out, infiltrating the cult. It seemed like a very interesting premise for a game. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on it. I might actually, reach out and see if, they'd hook us up with a review copy. If they will, that's great. If not, I'll eventually buy it. But I don't know. I don't know about you. I just think that sounds like a really intriguing setting for a game. A stealth game where
Yeah, intriguing.
It's not you're going to go disarm the nuclear warhead. Another Metal Gear wannabe. No, this is... Right. This is interesting, so I'm going to keep my eye on that. That's really all I have in releases this week, unless there was something you heard about, Nick. I think it's been a kind of a light week, at least from what I could see. I'm just going to pull up Metacritic real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything too huge. But yeah, the big one this week appears to be Wolfenstein. Oh, on the Switch... Fire Emblem 3 Houses, which once again makes me say, God damn it, I really need a Switch. Because I love the Fire Emblem series. I love any strategy RPG, to be honest with you. So I'm eager to pick that up at some point in the future. But that's all I have for release highlights. Unless you have something, we'll move on to the news.
No, proceed.
So yeah, one of the big items this week, and the end of last week, I'm sure you've heard about it, Nick. So one of the big problems that's been happening on the Switch is the left Joy-Con is having really bad drift issues to the point where they're unusable. And it's like insanely common, like the amount of people that were reporting this. And initially, as more and more started happening, Nintendo seemed to be pushing back a little bit. Like their support staff was saying, "Oh, I don't know if this is our problem," and they just weren't handling it the best from the articles I've read. But it became so widespread that as of this week, Nintendo's like officially making good on it. Basically said, if you're having the drift issue, call support, tell them, we'll get you the shipping label, no questions asked, send it in, and we'll fix it for you.
That's nice.
Yeah, so they're making good on that. It has me a little hesitant, because I think if I do get a Switch, I want to get the Switch Lite that's coming out later this year. For no other reason other than it's going to have an actual D-pad, which instead of, like, it's the thing I hate about the current Switch, my brother-in-law has one, is like, you have to use the Joy-Con like a D-pad, and it's actually buttons and not a D-pad, but the buttons serve as the D-pad. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm actually happy that the Switch Lite's going to have an actual D-pad. And so I'm going to look into getting that. I mean, technically it's not any less on the hardware. The screen's a little smaller. But other than that, like, you can still play all the same games and stuff. So I'm probably going to grab it. But this also makes me a little nervous. Like, what defects is that going to have? Should I wait a month? So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, is this something like, I don't know how many, or if you can even track like the iterations. I mean, I'm thinking back to like, the Xbox, days where, you have various series, like, like the first run of Xboxes were notorious for red ringing.
Yeah.
And then like the second generation, whatever, they started to, be able to kind of fix that. It still had red rings, but it wasn't as prevalent.
Yeah.
So is the same thing happening with Nintendo?
It
or
seems,
figured it out?
It seems to be. I think they're releasing a new iteration of the Switch that's supposed to have better battery life, and I have a feeling, I don't know if it's been officially stated, but I have a feeling the Joy-Con issue will be addressed. And it's just the left Joy-Con. That's the oddest part.
Just the left? Yeah,
it's just the left one. I don't know if it's the angle or if it's the pressure that particular side gets, but it's drift to the, in the analog stick to the point where it is unusable. And, but yeah, they're making good on it, so good on them. So big one, that I thought this week, I think we talked about it recently, actually, the Epic Store, as everybody knows, has been giving away like 2 free games a month. And, this week, they gave away Alan Wake.
Oh yeah, I saw that. So is this out now? I saw.
Yeah,
I just the other week.
I just unlocked it, actually. I have it already, but
yeah,
I have it.
Let me do that.
I was gonna say I have it on Steam, but can't hurt to have it everywhere I can get it. Because let's face it, folks, that game is fantastic.
Yeah, last time I played was on my 360, so actually being able to get it on PC will be nice.
Oh, it's a great game, man. It's a great game. Yeah, it's the last time I played it. Actually, was on my 360. And I've had it on PC forever, and I haven't played it. So I actually, I installed it not too long ago, and I'm really looking forward to playing that again, because that was a great game.
Wasn't there an expansion or something for it, or some kind of add-on?
No, they made like a faux sequel called American Nightmare.
Oh, maybe that's right.
I don't think this has it.
But, okay.
I do have both of those, but yeah, like they solved the whole licensing issue with the music and everything, so. I'm very much looking forward to diving into this one again. If you have not played it, you literally have zero excuse now, unless your PC can't run it. It is a great, great game, and I think
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll all really enjoy it. It has a very cool mechanic, and the story is just, yes, very good.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, very, very good.
Let's see, other news. I had to write this down. I was looking for news, and I went on GameSpot, and I saw what could be possibly the dumbest headline ever. You ready for this one?
Fire away.
And I quote, EA has been working on next-gen games for a while already.
Say that again. You cut off there.
Oh, I'm sorry. EA has been working on next-gen games for a while already. That's the headline. Okay. Here's why that's stupid. A, the next-gen consoles are coming out next year. If you know anything about video games, how long does it take to make a game?
You're talking probably 4, sometimes even 8 years.
Mm-hmm. So if they're working on next-gen games, obviously, if the systems are coming out next year to the public, they've been working on them for a while.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's kind of a thing. Like they're always working on games, and like usually that's the thing. If you know, this will be for those of us that watch E3 a lot. Is like back in the day, they had to run it on a PC because it was that next generation hardware was what the PC was versus the consoles. You know,
exactly
a few steps back. So it doesn't really surprise me that that's happening, and they probably already got word from the various companies like, this is the architecture that you need to try and mimic. To it may like. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the case of like they don't have the exact platform. They're not sitting there with like the next the next generation stuff, but
they have the specs. But I mean, it's just so stupid. Like, obviously they're working on the next gen games, and they have been. Like, you don't need a headline that says EA's been working on next gen games for a while already. Duh. Like, did you have to do research on that? I mean, I hope it was something.
Grass is green.
Yes. Yes, it rained and my plants grew. News at 11. Like, come on, guys. Like, some things just aren't news. The next item, and I talk this up a lot, but I can't say enough good about Danny O'Dwyer's NoClip documentary project on YouTube. Danny O'Dwyer, highly respected GameSpot, well, previously GameSpot journalist. He does games journalism for several sites now, but his big thing that he started last year, is it 2 years old now? It might be getting close to 2 years old, and it's easily my favorite thing on the internet. It's called NoClip, and he does incredible video game documentaries. He did a rather famous one on Digital Extremes, the creation of Warframe, and how they've maintained it. I mean, it's so fascinating because he gets right in on the ground, talks with all the people at these companies, and gets like the start to finish story on a lot of these, and it's just great stuff. Their documentary on CD Projekt Red and The Witcher is something everybody should see. It's just really great. And there's easily, I don't know, probably close to 10 documentaries on there, and it's all free. It's basically supported by Patreon and by donations, and it's high quality, I'd say like Hollywood production, quality. It's so well done, and he just released a new one on Hitman. the I think it's called The Fall and Rise of Hitman, and it talks about what is it, IO Interactive, kind of the early days of the Hitman series. Is a very short part in the beginning, but it talks about the latest release of what was called Hitman Season 1, and how they created that because they wanted to make like an open world highly explorable, go about your own way kind of thing version of Hitman with really large maps. And it goes on to like explore how it basically their initial approach almost bankrupted them, which was to, release it in episodes, make each episode cheap, or you could buy the whole package, and it got huge reviews, and I've played it myself. If you like Hitman, it's absolutely fantastic. Like, it's the best that game has ever been. But when they first released it, they had literally, after the release of the first episode, I think it was, Square Enix dropped them. Like, they pulled out of their agreement with Square Enix, and so everybody was very uncertain what was going to happen, whether they were going to make the rest of the episodes. So nobody basically bought the season pass, and they didn't sell nearly enough of what they needed. So the documentary goes into all this and like how things weren't looking good, and then things changed and they changed their approach, and now the game's doing huge, and they've got Hitman Season 2 out, and it's just a really good documentary. And what I like about Danny's documentaries is he's interviewing the developers on the ground, and like you hear like the sad stories of with the Enix split, and every one of them had this all said like Square Enix was so awesome about it. Like, they were like helping the employees. They made sure like everybody had great severance, for the people that did get laid off and stuff. It sounded like it was just handled very professionally and very humanely. And like you get these stories that you otherwise never would have heard. So I think it just released this week. I mean, I started watching it this week. And I know it's the latest post, and it's very new. So I really, if you are at all interested in how video games get made, you've really got to go check out NoClip, CLIP, like NoClip, on YouTube, and just go through some of these documentaries. You'll instantly be hooked if you're even slightly interested in how games get made. It's really something, and every one of these have such an incredible story, and the things that happen to the people, and how some games almost never get made. I mean, it's just a whole thing, and like, I can't recommend it enough. Very good watch, and I think you'd like it a lot, Nick.
Cool.
He also did a Telltale thing too, which was very good. So I think you'd like that one. Just, it was kind of the aftermath of the Telltale Chainsaw Monday. But that is it for news. Will bring us to the latter half of the cast. The SavePoint Game of the Month. We actually need to pick a new one, so keep an eye on the SavePoint. I'm going to start a poll, and we'll pick our latest, our next Game of the Month, and then I will update everybody there on what that is. And we will discuss that. I did get, like I said, to play some Defender of the Crown. I've played that many times. The Nintendo one was a bit of a new approach for me, which was why I picked it, just because I hadn't really played it much. Graphics were very primitive in comparison to the Amiga version, but it actually had more features that they had intended to put in the computer versions but never had the time. So it was a very interesting trade-off to play some of these other features in the game, and it was fun. So yeah, there'll be a new Game of the Month coming. Keep an eye on that. We have no voicemails this week. Fred French, what the hell has happened to you, sir? Where have you been? But if you want to call our voicemail line and answer our question the bye week, you can do so at 610-810-1654. And this will bring us to the aforementioned question of the bye week, which I can't wait to hear your answer on, Nick, when we get that far. If you could have any 3 arcade machines or pinball machines or both in your dream game room, what would they be? So we got a ton of feedback on this on the SavePoint. I was very happy to see that. We got some feedback on the Twitters. I'm going to pull that up right now, just to go make sure I don't forget to go through the Twitter feedback, which I almost always do. So I'm making it a point this time not to do that. There it is. Okay, so I've got that feedback. So make sure to read that. Alright, so let's hop on over to the save point. And let's see what the good folks said, and then we will give you our own. Okay. Where the hell? There it is. Alright, so Nick, do you happen to have that up right now, or you just want me to go through it?
Let me get it up here. One moment.
Alright, so I will go through the first one, and let me know when you have it up, and I'll let you take over from there. Okay, so our first answer comes from our pal Alvogue. Street Fighter Alpha 3. Star Wars Trilogy. And
with the TIE Fighter and the that's a good one.
That's badass. And NBA Jam. God, who didn't play NBA Jam?
Right.
That game was so great. He's on fire. Oh man, that was good stuff. You want to take the next one?
All right, let me, if I can find the entry. Oh, there it is.
Look for woohoo! Time for the retrorents.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Comments. There we go. All right. Adam is saying Ninja Turtle. That classic right there. X-Men. Yeah. I'm noticing a theme here, and The Simpsons. All about that the 4X games. I love those.
They were so great. How fun was that too when you could actually get 4 people to play with you?
Oh yeah, it's usually just like random people too. It'd be like, it's like, hey, you got a quarter? You got a quarter? All right,
yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. That was the best part about arcades too, man. Like you could run into just random people.
Yeah, you never knew who you were running into.
And oh god, I miss arcades. The next one comes from my beautiful wife. Amber says Ms. Pac-Man tabletop, absolutely. Danky Kang.
Danky Kang.
And the Elvira, Mistress of the Dark pinball machine.
Oh, I nearly forgot about that.
That was a great table.
I played that.
That was a great freaking table. And Miss Pac-Man, arguably in my opinion, better than Pac-Man. I don't care. Fight me. I always.
What was it about it that you like more?
There was more ghost and fruit variety, and other objects on the board. It just had more variety than the original Pac-Man. So, yeah, I just enjoyed that one a little bit more. And I liked the tabletop presentation as well. I thought that was a really nice touch. Let's see. Eric Bouchard, the great AZ Rock Slide from the Everyday Gamers. You can go ahead and take that one, Nick.
All right. Let's see. I was scrolling down. I was like, look at all this stuff. Okay. Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yes.
Street Fighter 2, the game. And you got a lot of words here. I've got more. Jeez. Continue to follow the Capcom games. MVC 2.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Same thing. And Dungeons & Dragons Shadow over Mysteria.
Yes.
I don't think I played that.
Oh my god, you never played those?
No, I don't think I've heard of this arcade.
So there were 2 of them. There was Shadow over Mystara, and actually, that is the sequel. I think the first one was like the Tower of Doom or something like that. The Tower of something. I think and I could be wrong, but I think Shadow over Mystara was the sequel. But anyway, so you chose between like the fighter, the rogue, the wizard, and it was very platformy Golden Axe kind of deal. Very similar to that. You beat enemies, beat them up. You get gold from them, and then at the end of the board, you can go into a shop and you could upgrade your weapon to do more damage. You could upgrade, your armor, take more hits, and it had a really cool story to it. It had a great story to it, and it was all in the D&D system. So the wizard's spells were all out of the D&D spell book. The monsters were all out of the monster manual. If you can find it somewhere on the internets. I know there's an arcade game archive, I think, on the Internet Archive. That is absolutely one that is worth just queuing up and playing. It's a great, and the sequel and the original are fantastic cabinets. Let's see.
No, I realized you was talking about Marvel vs. Capcom and kind of like those fighting ones. His third one is Super Don Quixote, another one I haven't heard of.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, never heard of that one.
But he swapped that out at the end. He said, "Cliffhanger, the best of the cartoon action games. I learned years later that much of the game was taken from the Lupin the Third anime, especially the film Castle of Cagliostro." I've never heard of these, Eric. The action cartoon games. Is this like Dragon's Lair kind of deal? I don't know. I'm going to have to look into this.
Dragon's Lair is definitely awesome.
Hell yeah. So, all right, Eric, you've given me some homework. I'm going to look those up. Troy Games. Brother, you hit a home run here. Because Nick and I played this for like a summer on pinball emulators.
Oh, yes.
Indiana Jones, the Pinball Adventure. Dude, I would sell eye teeth to have that in my basement right now. That is, hands down, that could be one of the best pinball tables ever. Right down from the music to the action sequences on the, whatever the hell they call the screen, to the mechanics of the table. It was such a really brilliant table, and one of my favorites of all time. Jackal arcade game. It's another great one. And Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Hell yes.
Yes.
I mean, let's face it, the Ninja Turtle games in the arcade were probably some of the best beat-em-ups ever made.
Yeah. And I always feel like that was always one you could find anywhere you went. Like there was always like a few staple arcade machines, and no matter which arcade you went to, they were always there.
With good reason, too. If I remember correctly, somebody released a stat on that at some point. I gotta find that again. But that game was pulling in like thousands and thousands of dollars for arcade owners.
I believe it.
Like, if you didn't grow up in the 80s, man, you just don't understand what a sensation the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were. Like, it was everywhere. They were on like lunchboxes and thermoses. Like, it was so popular. So the game, when it hit arcades, like, the fact that it actually had, like, the full cartoon intro, like, perfectly done. Yeah. I remember just, like, I would just walk by the machine and watch it, play it on repeat. Because it was just so cool to see it in a game format. All right, I'll let you take Todd's.
All right, Todd's saying Marvel vs. Capcom 2. No, yes, another great one. Turtles in Time, yep. And Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Yes, Gauntlet.
Oh, the modern Gauntlet games were so good. So good. Actually, one of the ones that he mentioned further down the bottom, I absolutely loved. Time Crisis. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
The light gun game with the foot pedal?
Yeah, I think I want to say it was one of the first, if not like at least the most notably first of that kind of like style game. I
think it was the first. And one of the best ports I ever bought on my Sega Dreamcast.
Nice.
Like, that was a 100% faithful port. My pal Josh, do they have to be cabinets? No, sir. Does the sit-in afterburner count? Yes, fucking hell it does. After that, probably Turtles in Time, Simpsons, X-Men. Oh, can I have 4? The D&D Tower of Mystara one? Shit. Operation Wolf, please? Yeah, Josh, like you're checking off the games of my childhood there, brother. I mean, I would be hard pressed to say I think everybody remembers the first time they sat down in the cabinet to play Afterburner. I know I've never forgotten it. Like, that thing moving around and getting the feel like you're actually flying the plane. That was incredible. You played that one, right?
No, actually.
You've never played Afterburner?
Oh, Afterburner. Oh, sorry, Afterburner. Yes, I have.
What the hell's wrong with you? How could you walk by that cabinet and not put money in?
Yeah, with the joystick hanging out. Sorry.
And
another one.
Yeah, and the sit-in cabinet too is great.
Oh, yeah.
Operation Wolf, I very much remember because the grocery store where we lived in Jersey had it. Like, that was the one cabinet they had. And I always played it. I loved playing Operation Wolf. The whole machine gun aspect of the machine gun actually like having the feedback and rumble feedback was so cool for the time. Jeremy from Bad Fodder Figures. Another one with Indiana Jones pinball. Are you seeing a pattern here, folks? Anyone that has ever played that pinball table wants it. And trust me, I think I'm going to find a way. I'm going to get it. I would love to have that table. I played that so much back in the day. Jeremy follows it up with another home run. Tron. Big cabinet. Yeah, the big cabinet Tron was the shit. And the third one, he goes, Neo Geo. And yes, this is like wishing for more wishes, but it's not in the rules, so suck it. Yeah, Neo Geo. I never had one. I don't know any friend of mine that did, because I didn't know anyone that had hit a lottery back in the 80s. But I remember seeing Neo Geo commercials. Do you, Nick?
No, I can't recall anything off the top of my head. Like, it was always, like, Nintendo or Sega. Never Neo Geo.
Well, they weren't often. And I mean, the reason for it's pretty simple. So the Neo Geo was a home console that was basically the arcade cabinet insides. And the console itself was like, I want to say like $600. And this is 1985. Like, early 90s. So, I mean, you can do the math. That's a lot of money for 1985.
Oh, yeah.
And the games were equally expensive. I think like a game on Neo Geo might have been like $80 to $100. Again, it doesn't sound like a lot today, but you have to put yourself 20 years ago, that's a lot of money. And but what made it so appealing to the people that could afford it is it was a 100% faithful, you put, hook the console into your TV and you had the arcade game of whatever you had bought. The same game you'd play in the arcade without having to put in a quarter. So, I'm with you, Jeremy. I wish, obviously, when the 90s hit and the internet age really took off, and I would say mid to late 90s when emulation really started getting off the ground, because, I mean, I got involved in that scene when Nintendo emulation was in its very, very early stages. I had an early version of Nesticle, and they didn't even have all the mappers emulated yet, so like I couldn't play Castlevania 3. But I do remember, after emulation really took off, Neo Geo started making its appearances online, and that was actually the first time I had played it sometime around college. And I remember even being blown away then, like, holy shit, I can't imagine being able to play this back in like 1985. Would have blown my little mind. But, yep. All right, I'll let you take Luke's.
All right. Let's see. Wait, what? Where is he? Oh, wait. Is there more replies? Nope. Where do you? Wait.
Down past Jeremy Lyons.
There it is. Okay, there he is. Man, I keep scrolling up and it's like I keep reading everyone's like, oh yeah, that's so good.
There's some great replies.
Some great ones. Luke says Gauntlet Legends. Yep.
Yep.
Time Cop. We were just talking about that. And side racing. Hydro Thunder. Okay, yeah. The big side by sides. Yeah.
Aaron, my old pal from Net Access. Tokyo Rush 2049. Great game. Mr. Do, fantastic game. A lawnmower arcade game. I loved that game. And he said, also maybe Bad Dudes. I mixed it up. Operation Wolf was in our arcades. Bad Dudes was the one in our supermarket. That was a fantastic beat 'em up. And I remember that one very well. Are you a bad enough dude to save the president?
Are you a bad enough dude?
That's a great game. Mary, she fires off with Pac-Man or Centipede. I mean, classics. Although I still go with Miss Pac-Man. Centipede always kicked my ass. The Simpsons and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Again, patterns here, folks. These are classics. These are classic arcade games, and would be an awesome addition to anyone's game room. I gotta take Kurt. My pal Kurt just replies with, Double Dragon, 1 is enough. He doesn't want 3 in his game room.
1 is enough.
He just wants Double Dragon. That is a great pick, Kurt. But you can pick more than one. It's in the rules. You can do that. You got people up here picking 5. And you got to be that guy. Don't be that guy. And then finally, our co-host and pal, Kyle. He will be coming back soon. Summer is a busy time for Kyle. Vacations and fun and spending time with his family instead of, doing what we do at the sacrifice of spending time with our family. I'm only kidding, Kyle. We love you. But yes, he fires off with some fantastic ones. Space Harrier. That's a great one.
Ooh, yeah.
I loved that one. I loved like the dual plane, like jumping and flying and the shooter aspect of that one. That was always fun. Space Harrier, Street Fighter 2, obviously, and Turtles Arcade can also be substituted with Simpsons or X-Men. Once again, those four...
4-player. Yeah, the 4 players.
Yeah, that 4-player, man, that was such a awesome thing for its time. That is all the feedback we have on the SavePoint. I do have one on Twitter. I will go to that right now. This is from your cousin. At Expand Your Tribe. Marble Madness, Donkey Kong, and Asteroids. Man! Another 3 really good ones. Especially Marble Madness. We were just talking about that. Did you see that, by the way? I think it was my pal Chris tagged us on Twitter. There is basically a Marble Madness clone that allows you to make your own tracks.
Really?
Yeah, he tagged us on Twitter. I'll find it again and I'll retweet it to you.
Yeah, definitely.
I would definitely want to check that out. But that is it, folks. That will bring us to the end of this cast. We'll be in San Francisco next week. We don't really record weekly anyway.
You want to go over ours?
Oh, shit. Dude, I did this again. This is like the 3rd week in a row I've done this.
How dare you not talk about ours?
I'm a piece of shit. All right, Nick, we'll start with you.
So most of my, I actually went both routes. I went the arcade cabinets and the pinball cabinets. Most of the arcades are actually kind of spoken for. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yes, absolutely. I actually throw in Killer Instinct, and not Mortal Kombat. I went for Killer Instinct.
That's a great one.
That was one. That was the one that was always in. There was a. I think it was the University of Missouri. I spent, several summers there as part of band camp stuff, and that arcade always had a Killer Instinct.
That's a great one.
And so I was always doing it on the lunch break and whatnot. And then 1942 is my third for.
I was so surprised nobody said that one.
I know, right? It's like, come on, that's a classic right there.
That is a great one.
Pinball side, Indiana Jones, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I gotta add in Theater of Magic. Yes.
And that is in Pinball FX3 now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you have to get the DLC. There's like 2 Williams DLC packs, and they're all great. They're all great. The one has Theater of Magic. I'll have to get you the list. I have almost every pinball pack for that game. Like,
gotcha,
I'm obsessed with it. But yeah, get the Williams packs. They got all the Williams classics.
Nice. And then my third, it was kind of a tie between Terminator, but I had to go with Star Trek: The Next Generation. my third.
That's a good one.
The good one. I had to go with.
Oh man.
What about you?
Well, me being a pinball freak,
yes.
I have to go with Indiana Jones.
And
and I have to go with Theater of Magic. That's another one of my favorites.
Excellent.
And then the Terminator 2 pinball game, I also dumped a whole lot of money in.
For sure.
Yeah, you gotta love the gun to shoot your pinball instead of the plunger.
Oh yeah, it's like, and you had to time it based on wherever the target was on the little screen and whatnot. Yep. So that one was good, and if I have to, I'll go cabinets now because I couldn't choose between one or the other. That's like choosing children. So if I could have 3 arcade cabinets, I'd have to go with the Terminator 2, the movie arcade game with the machine guns. I dumped a ton of money into that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. You had they were like Uzis, like 2 little Uzis sticking up.
Yep, that was one. Another one I absolutely loved was Dragon's Lair. Even though like you could memorize that and
yeah, once you knew, but back then there was no like internet or anything, so it took a long time to try
and a lot of fucking money.
which path to take. It's like nowadays, like it's like okay, you go this way, you go left, right, it's like all that kind of stuff. It's like okay, you got to figure it out. But yeah, back in the day.
I just remember
I don't think there were any guides for it. Like
no.
I mean, you think back, there was Nintendo. I always think about Nintendo Power. That was like the the cheat code. That was the
that was the only avenue we had.
Yeah, like before the days of like GameFAQs and like now YouTube videos where you can look up. It's like how to do the walkthrough. It's like Nintendo Power was it. But I don't think there was like as far as I know. I'm sure there may have been like internet.
No, if I remember, the game kind of randomized it too. It randomized it a little bit.
Okay. So you had to know which screen you were on too, then.
Yeah. But I do remember being there one time when somebody beat it, and
really,
it was one of those like they were a celebrity for 10 minutes, man. Because like everybody who played Dragon's Lair, you played it a lot, and you knew when people were starting to get past like the really hard parts. And I remember watching this guy, and he was like 2 scenes past where I could never get past at the time. And we're like, holy shit, he's going to the castle. He's going to Singe's castle. And like all of a sudden, everybody starts swarming around the cabinet. Another experience kids today will just never know. That whole like, holy shit, there's a Donkey Kong kill screen coming up if anybody's interested.
Kill screen, go on.
But yeah, so it was fun to see that. So that would be my second cabinet. My third cabinet would have to be, and I just had it in my head, and I blanked. Oh, this is bad. I'm really getting fucking old. Oh, Soul Calibur. Soul Edge, as it was called in the arcade. I was, like, I'm not one to brag, because I'm not very good at a lot of games. I love games, and I play them religiously. But there are very few games I could say I was really good at, and I fucking rocked at Soul Calibur in the arcade. I played that. I could beat it on 2 quarters. It was a 50-cent game. I could beat anyone that came up to play me, probably like 80-85% of the time. I could beat, whoever I was going against. There was one girl that would come in, and she was probably around the same age as me, and she was fucking good. And that was one of those, like, it could go either way. It was one of those, like, we never really introduced ourselves, never knew her name, she never knew mine. It was like I'd see her come up with 2 quarters, and I'm like, fuck. Is my game's either going to end or I'm going to keep playing? And it was kind of a 50-50 toss. And I remember it was getting to the point where like some of the regulars at the arcade, because it was right down the road from the college, the people that were coming there like every afternoon, if they saw like either me cruise up to her game or her cruise up to mine, all of a sudden you get like 2 or 3 more people watching like who's going to win today. That was so much fun. But yeah, I'd love to have that cabinet again. That was such a great, great game. But that is ours. Obviously, with the new job, I'll be saving up to buy an Indiana Jones pinball machine and hopefully find somebody within the East Coast of the United States that can fix it when it inevitably breaks. But yeah. That is everybody's... thank you to everybody on the SavePoint. We got so much feedback on that. That was really, really great. And we always appreciate just getting tons and tons of answers, and I figured that would be a really fun one. So, thanks, everybody. And on that note, we will head into conclusions and final thoughts and shout-outs. As usual, I do want to take a second. Big thank you to our fans, and to everybody listening to us, people passing the word around. We really do appreciate it. Do not forget, we are running a contest. I'd like to do a raffle probably at the beginning of October for anyone that leaves reviews for us on iTunes. Preferably positive ones. Those help. I will randomly pick somebody, and I have a ton of stuff from like Humble Monthly, and I have a lot of other keys just kind of sitting here. So I'm going to give a few of them away. To a lucky couple draws from people that leave reviews. So leave us a review on iTunes and let us know what you think of the show. Other than that, I want to big shout out to the boys at the Everyday Gamers. They haven't done an episode in a while, but I did talk to Eric the other day. They are preparing to release one soon, so I'm very excited for that. Another shout out to Mike, Eric, Matt, and Jeremy of the Bad Fodder Figures. Even though, Jeremy, you gotta get back on there, man. Even if it's just one of your voicemails, we miss you. Great show. It's still one of my favorites. I listen to him all the time. Shout out to Travis and Adam. Travis, our sometimes co-host and co-founder, has his podcast, The RPG Kingdom. I'm really, really enjoying that cast, guys. You do really great deep dives on a lot of these RPGs, and I have to say, hearing Adam talk about his 8 years or so of playing Final Fantasy XI, the multiplayer one, had me like, man, I think I missed out on a really great game. So yeah, it was just fun to hear that episode too. So shout out to them. Shout out to Denny and the gang over at Tap the Craft Podcast. I'm really getting into that one. It's a really great craft brew podcast. I've mentioned them before. They talk about all kinds of different brews. They'll focus on a certain type of beer, tell you some of their favorites, tell you the properties of the beer. Just a very cool, non-pretentious. It's just a great, if you're interested in beer and finding good beer, it's a great show to listen to. They're a lot of fun. It's Tap the Craft. I think that is it on my shout. I almost forgot. Shout out to my buds over at Married to the Games. Gabe Patillo, Tim Router, Chris McCracken, and Edward. I'm forgetting your last name, Edward. But they are a really great podcast. If you want to listen to a podcast that's actually clean language, I try, guys. It ain't ever going to fucking happen, as you can just see right there. I can't do it. But they can, and it's a really great podcast. And it's there's just a lot of fun. It's very well produced, and I'm becoming a very big fan of them as well. So check them out. Alright, I think that will do it for me. Nick, what do you got going on that you want to share with us?
Nothing else. I just ready for this movie to be over. By the next podcast, I should be in the new place.
That's true. You gotta let me know how the whole HQ gets set up and stuff.
Indeed, will do.
Very cool,
I'll
man.
take lots of pictures and whatnot.
Good, man. I really wish you the best of luck on the move. I know it's an incredibly stressful situation, having been there myself before. I can't even fucking imagine doing that with kids. I can just say that much. Dear God, I'll probably fucking go gray. It'll be like looking into the Ark. But yeah, man, best of luck. Hope everything goes well. Hope it all goes smooth. And I'm sure I'll be posting pictures from San Francisco. I can't wait to go try the most infamous food item there, which is the San Francisco sourdough bread bowl with clam chowder in it. New England clam chowder. Yeah, that's what I said. Sign me up. So, alright, everybody, till the next episode, have fun, play games, don't be dicks, and we will catch you all soon. See ya!